Here's a question that probably hits close to home for a lot of us. Can you genuinely show up for other people when you're still fighting your own battles inside? Can you really practice compassion when you're, still feeling that sting of resentment? It's a tough one, and it gets right to the heart of personal growth. And today, we're going to unpack a really beautiful and practical answer to that very question.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with the exact question that kicked this whole thing off. A student asks their master, look, I want to be compassionate, but when I try, I just feel this personal suffering, this resentment bubbling up. Does it even count as compassion then? I mean, that is just such a real and honest question, isn't it? I think we've all been there.
And the master's answer is just perfect. He starts with, yes, of course you can. But then he does something really clever. He completely reframes the issue. That feeling of resentment, it's not a character flaw. It's not a sign you're failing. He says it's simply an affliction. It's not you. It's something separate from you, something you can actually work on.
And that idea right there is the absolute key to this whole thing. Understanding that things like anger, jealousy, or resentment aren't fundamentally who we are. So, where do they come from? Are we just, born with a short temper? The master's answer to that is a hard no. He introduces this idea called huntup, which basically just means cultivation, or maybe a better word is habituation. What he's saying is these negative feelings aren't innate. They are habits. They're mental programs that we have trained ourselves to run just by doing them over and over and over again.
And check out this metaphor. It makes it so clear. Think of your anger or your resentment like an old classmate. If you nourish that connection, you call them, you text them, you think about them all the time, well, that relationship stays strong. Right? You remember their face, their name, everything. But what if you starve that connection? You just lose touch. What happens after a few years? You forget them. The connection just fades away.
And that's the big insight. It's so powerful because it's so simple. To get rid of these afflictions, you don't have to fight them. You don't have to wrestle them to the ground. You just stop feeding them. You stop giving them your attention. You starve them of your energy. And just like that old classmate you lost touch with, they will slowly, gradually just wither and disappear.
Okay, so if the goal is to starve these habits, how in the world do you actually do that? Well, this isn't just some abstract philosophy. This is a clear, actionable plan, a 21-day practice to basically install a brand new mental program.
The whole entire practice comes down to this one single thought. This is your emergency brake. The second you feel that old, familiar anger or resentment creeping in, you just have to recognize it and think, this is harmful. This has zero benefit for me. I am not going to self-destruct right now. That's it. That's the core of the new program you're installing.
And what's really cool is how this builds up. You're not expected to be a master on day one. For the first week, you'll probably only notice you got angry after it already happened. And that's a win. That's step one. Then, in the second week, you'll start to catch yourself right in the middle of it. And by week 3, with consistent practice, you'll get to the point where you can spot that feeling the second it shows up and shut it down before it even gets going.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds great, but it also sounds hard. Can I just lean on a teacher or a book or some external inspiration to do the heavy lifting for me? It's a totally fair question, but the master has a really clear answer on this one. He uses another great metaphor to explain the difference between leaning on external power versus building your own. Relying on someone else is like a parent who always cleans their child. Sure, the child is clean for a moment, but they never, ever learn the actual skill of cleaning themselves. Building your own self-power is like teaching the child how to do it. It's about developing a real, lasting ability that is truly yours. And that skill you build, that real internal strength, has a name, gongduk. You can think of it as true merit, or a deep internal capability. And the thing is, nobody can give it to you, and nobody can ever take it away from you. It has to be earned through your own practice. It's like building a muscle. A trainer can show you the exercise, but you're the one who has to lift the weight.
So let's recap. We've seen that afflictions are just bad habits. We've got the technique to starve them with a 21-day practice, and we know we have to build that strength ourselves. But let's go one level deeper. Where does all this suffering, all these afflictions actually come from? What's the root cause?
And believe it or not, the master says it all traces back to one single source, one powerful force, Tom. In English, we'd call it craving, or clinging, or attachment. This one single impulse is the seed from which pretty much all of our different kinds of suffering sprout.
And just think about how this plays out. Craving. It's the engine of our pain. It's that wanting that creates the pain of not getting. It's that clinging that creates the pain of losing. The master even points out how it can take something as beautiful as love and corrupt it, twisting it from selfless care into a selfish need to possess someone, which of course just creates more suffering for everybody involved.
So, this brings us to the final and most important takeaway. The path to freedom isn't about adding some new, complicated thing to your life. It's actually about removing what's already there, what's harmful. And it all starts with that simple, honest recognition that an old mental habit, an old program, just isn't serving you anymore. Seeing the harm is the first step. So, the question to leave you with is this: which harmful program are you ready to stop running, starting today?